This is my advice for young men. And so I'm going to give a little bit of context to give you an understanding of why I'm so big on this subject. And from there, we'll push all the way through and then we'll send it straight home. I grew up with a mother and a father, right? And so my father, he had two wives, so I have a half brother. He's a lot older than me. He's damn near double my age. So we didn't grow up together. By the time I was born, he was already starting his life. So we see each other every now and then, right? My father raised me with my mother until they got divorced. I don't know when. I was pretty young. But for the most part, I didn't have a strong masculine role model in my life. I I believe in honoring your father despite how terrible he is, and so I try to honor him. But the truth is, he isn't a man that I want to be similar to in any way, shape, or form. But I will become a better man to honor his last name. I will be the one to break the chain to make sure that my child doesn't have to grow up like that. But for the most part, my father was flawed, just like any other man, and so it's okay, right? However, with my mother, it was his second chance. Obviously, it didn't work out with his first wife, but with this one, it should have been his second shot. He should have woken up, but he didn't. My mother did all the work while he stayed at home on the computer, angry, resentful, bitter that he couldn't do anything. And he took it out on her, strangely enough. It was his pride. His pride was attacked because he's like, I'm a man. And look at my wife raising me and taking care of me. Okay, well, you should have did something. And I remember growing up and I remember seeing him trying to get some jobs and make some money. But the truth is, he didn't want it bad enough. And a lot of his anger manifested, a lot of his sadness and anger manifested itself into terrible things that I just wish I didn't have to see or hear when I was young. And so I saw a broken man take it out on his wife and take it out on his child. And so, up until the age of 18, when I left the military, I did not have a masculine role model. I didn't have anyone to look up to. I didn't have anyone to teach me anything. I was a mindless, empty soul. And it was tough, man. I mean, I'm not to say boo hoo me, poor Thompson, but I just didn't want to hear those things as a kid. I'm 8 years old at the time, man. Like all I know is video games. And it's like, my gosh, I can't even escape in the video games because I hear the crying and the screaming and the please stop, you're hurting me. And it just wasn't fun to listen to, you know? It got to the point where I can tell if a night was going to be good or if there was going to be a night that was going to be terrible simply by the tone of someone's voice. My father, right? And so if I hear his tone kind of soft and mellow like this, I'm like, and I'm playing video games, I'm like, okay, tonight's gonna be a good night. He's not raising it, it's staying right here. But the moment like I hear an increase in the pitch where he's like this, I'm like, I just know something's gonna happen. So I'm on the video game and I'm like, okay, three, two, one, boom, and the next thing you know, you hear crying and screaming and things breaking. It was annoying to say the least. Quite annoying. And I'm a kid at the time, and it's not like I could change anything. It's not like I could step up to him, you know. Try that, boom, got beat, you know. So it was annoying to say the least. At 18, I had went into the military because I just didn't have another option. So I was a relatively good kid in terms of academics up until high school. And it's mainly because the stigma that Asian parents or Asian people always get good grades. It's true to a degree because a lot of our parents are first generation, so they believe that if you excel in school, you'll excel in life, and if you don't excel in school, then you fail in life, right? So the stigma is true. That stigma, I will agree that it's true. For the most part, I was forced to get good grades up until high school because if I didn't, I would get whooped, right? But in high school, that's kind of when I gave up because a lot of things went wrong. Again, this isn't like a oh pity Thompson, oh poor Thompson, but Father got cancer. He beat it, got cancer again, split up with my mother, had to live with my cousin, had to listen to my mother cry every night. And, I'm just sitting by the door trying to listen, trying to figure out what's going on. I'm young, I don't know what the hell's happening. But she's all in tears, no money. We didn't have nothing. And so I'd go to the family parties and I'd get pity money and aunties and uncles handing me money. And then you would think like, oh, that's nice, right? But I was a victim at the time, man. I was a little ignorant, self-centered victim. And so I'm like, I don't want your pity money. I take it, I give it to my mom. Like, here. She's like, what's this? I was like, I don't know. They gave me money and they said sorry and they felt bad for me. And I saw it in their eyes and I didn't like it. Here. I had so many pity eyes on me. Like, oh, poor Tom said, I heard his family isn't working out. And oh my gosh, just look at his mother and father fighting at the family party. And I heard they got divorced. Oh my gosh, his father got cancer. What is he doing? Oh, he's all alone. Oh, he's living with so and so. Oh my God. It was quite annoying. So my grades went down around high school because I gave up. It was evidently too much pain, and it was unbearable for a little kid at the time. And I didn't know what the hell to do with it. I didn't know what to do with all that pain. I was just there like, damn. So I smoked a lot, man. And I drank a lot in high school just so I could go to sleep, man. Like, my hardworking mother would take me to school early, rush to take me to school. I was so selfish at the time. I mean, like every other kid, just anxious, angry, and just self-centered. But she made so many sacrifices for me, and I wouldn't even do good in school. I remember she'll take me to school, and I would just immediately go to the baseball field, lay on the bleachers, go to sleep. And I'd stay there until lunch just so I had some food, right? Because we didn't have a lot of money. We didn't always have food. So I'd go to lunch. I'd get the food that the school would give you for free, right? I didn't have to pay for it. I guess you guys know how the schools work. Like, if your family if your household income is pretty high, then you have to pay for lunch. If your household income is pretty low, then it's on the house. So I'd eat the food, and then after the food, I'd jump the fence, and I'd go home, smoke. I'm in California, so if you're wondering what I'm smoking that. Go home, smoke, and I'd sleep because it's the only way for me to just ignore all the BS. And at the time, my father was sick, and so he still had to stay here at the house. And his sickness and his anger and his this and this, it all piled up, and I still had to listen to it. Like, it never stopped. Like, from the ages of 4 to the earliest of my memory, it's like I couldn't get a break. But screw me, my mother, she didn't get a damn break. Like, I'm over here thinking about myself, like, now that I'm older, my gosh, my mother didn't get a break, right? So, like, from the ages of 4 all the way to damn 18, man, like, none of us got a break. We had to hear this dude just break stuff, yell stuff, and take out his anger and sadness and his regrets all out on us because he was a weak, pitiful, sorry little man or boy. I'm sorry. And hey, I've had to talk with my father. I'm like, hey, I get it. Look, you had a tough life. You came straight here from Vietnam, didn't know a lick of English. You brought your whole family over here, and you had to make it happen. I get it. It was tough. I get it. But that isn't an excuse for why you freaking treated us like that. I'm sorry. You are not a good man. You may be a phenomenal uncle, a phenomenal brother, a phenomenal grandson, but you are a terrible father and an even worse husband. And we had the talk. And he can't do anything but accept it. Like, we've had the talk, right? And I believe in honesty. And I was like, you were god awful. Like, the worst father. Probably not the worst, but my gosh, you were awful. And as a husband, you were terrible. Like, why would you do that to a woman, right? And so, I know I said earlier I believe in honoring your father, and I do. I plan on honoring him by becoming a better man to uphold the last name. But besides that, like, that's not a man to me. That's an infant boy. And it's okay, right? I'm not anxious and bitter about it. It's just the truth. And the truth is, you were not enough. So, I went downhill, man. And by the time graduation came for high school, everyone's like applying for financial aid. I wasn't, because I was high. I was in class just sleeping while everyone's applying for financial aid. And then T-minus a couple days before graduation, I knew that we didn't have money, so I didn't do any of the activities. You know, all these what do they do now? I believe they do like prom and they go senior night and the graduation. I knew we didn't have money, and so I never burdened my mother with any of that. When prom came around, I didn't mention it. When this came around, I didn't mention it. Even graduation, I didn't walk because I knew that we had to get a cap and gown, and I just didn't want my mother to spend money, dude. She's a single mother having to take care of two children, me and my father, right? So that's a little bit of context. I went into the military and I clung onto the first men that I saw, right? Even if they were like 24, I would cling onto them, like, teach me something, please guide me. Oh my gosh. Because I knew nothing. I had nothing. I didn't have anyone to teach me my whole life, like nothing. I didn't know how to think. I didn't know what to think. So I clung on to people, and I was grateful enough to have some really good mentors along the way that really helped me in the military. And I've learned a lot, and I've spent a lot of time studying myself and reflecting, and I spent a lot of time just trying to become a better man. And I'm only 24. I have a long ways to go, but I hope that if there's anyone out here younger than me and you look up to me like Big Brother Thompson or Uncle Thompson, I hope that I can be that for you, similar to how a lot of these mentors in the military was for me. And so this is where my advice starts, right? So there's the context to give you a little backstory about why I'm so big on this is because I know the consequences of not having a strong masculine role model in your life. And I saw the consequences, and I saw how damaging it was to me and how damaging it was to everyone else in my life because of my inability to understand myself and to not be strong enough. I get it. Been there, done that. So here's my first piece of advice. If you are young, and when I say young, I mean anywhere under 18 or anywhere under 20, I would highly urge you to not be a victim. Meaning, whatever's going on in your life, don't blame them. Learn from my mistakes. I blame them. I blame my father. I blame my upbringing. I blame that we were in poverty and we didn't have anything. And that's why my life wasn't good. And my father had all the power. And when I realized that, I said, my father? He has all the power? He's the reason I don't want to do this? I said, no. And so here's how you can stop being a victim. And it's by blaming yourself. And I'll always repeat this. You guys always hear me say, take the blame finger, point it inwards. Because when you can take the blame finger and point it inwards, you have all the control. Your source, you have all the power now. And so your options are unlimited. You can do whatever you want to grow. You can do whatever you want to change, right? But so long as you blame this, that, or him, or her, or your circumstances, that means your circumstances and your situation and your upbringing, and this person has all the power, and so you're limitless, or you're limited, You're limited. And so you can't really take action. So please stop being a victim. And even if you can build an undeniable case as to why your life is in shambles because of this person or that person, you act like it's going to make you better. Like you act like it's going to help you. Like just because you can give me evidence as to why your life was ruined because of this person, you act like saying that and believing that will make you better. Like as if that's going to help you take action. No, it's just going to make you bitter. You're going to keep blaming that person for how screwed up you are. And then that person is going to be your owner because now you're a slave to that person because you can only think of that person. You wake up, think about that person. You go to sleep, think about that person. You're a slave to that person. They own you. They have you with a collar and they're dragging you willingly. And you're allowing it. And that's what happens when you continue to blame the world and blame your circumstances or blame other people. So please, step one, stop being a victim. And I know it's tough because you're like, man, no, seriously, this person ruined my life. I get it. But there's no power in that. You have to say, well, despite this person ruining my life, what the hell can I do about it? It's my fault. What can I do? Change starts with my fault. 2 words. So, my fault. Next, I would say, especially in this world, I have no shame, right? I believe in being as authentic as I can be. Obviously, you guys see this. This is an internet persona. But I am trying to be as authentic as I can, as close to authentic as I can. Only, of course, only you guys see a fragment of who I truly am. Only I know who I really am. Right? The Taoists believe that we have three masks: one that we show the world, one that we show our loved ones and our inner circle, and one that only we can see. Right? So I have a mask that only I can see, full of dark hidden secrets and skeletons in the closets and a lot of evil and a lot of wrong things that you guys don't know about. But for the most part, I try to be as authentic as I can. And I'm not shame. I don't have shame. I try to be authentic, honest, because I don't care to seek external validation. I've done that for a long time. I hope that I can carry myself in a way where you can perhaps adopt a few good traits, not the bad, right? My next one would be, in this age of lust and social media and young gentlemen, like, you have a lot of testosterone, man. You guys are going through puberty. Like, you guys have so much testosterone. The ladies look so good and you're always horny, and you freaking please yourself, and you go home and you watch pornography. Like, these are tough conversations to have because it makes people feel uncomfortable. To me, it doesn't make me feel uncomfortable because the truth is we've all done it. Gentlemen, we've all been there, we've all done it. I damn sure did it when I was young. But I made a decision to just stop doing that, man. Like, it was poison. Like, I made a decision a while back, like, I'm just not gonna freaking do it. I'm just not gonna watch pornography. I'm just not going to please myself. I'm just not going to do it. Because it's poison. So my next piece of advice is, look, I get it. Like, you have a bunch of testosterone and you got to get rid of it and you're horny. Hey, if you are not celibate, meaning if you haven't made the decision to refrain from sexual intercourse or intimacy until marriage, and you're okay with being intimate, dude, at least do it with a real human. So do it with a woman, or if you're young, a girl, right? Instead of your freaking right hand and a screen like this, going like this, like, please. Like, one, it's pathetic. Two, you shouldn't be doing it. And it's important, man. And if you find it difficult, I urge you to take that force of energy, right? Your sexual energy, it's life force, it's energy, and put it into something productive. Go run, go box, hit the gym, do something, right? That's definitely what helped me, dude. I've have a lot of testosterone, and I take a lot of herbs that boost my testosterone, like Fedosia, Tribulus, ashwagandha, goat wheat, you know, Tomcat Ali, ginger root, ginseng. Like, I take a lot of natural herbs that boost testosterone. So, dude, every day I'm freaking cranked. And I just put it into my work. I put it into deep work. I put it into the gym. I put it into my training. That's why I do 2-a-days. I train hard because I got a lot of energy. Because I'm not wasting my energy watching pornography and then playing with myself with my right hand. I'm just not. And you'll notice how your mind changes when you readapt. You'll notice how much clearer you see the world, right? This is not me saying refrain from talking to women. And I'm speaking to all my young gentlemen. Obviously, if you're older, I'll get onto that too. And I know, right? Like, oh my gosh, you're 24. How are you going to give me advice when I'm older than you? But maybe just perhaps I can give you some advice. And I'll get into that in just a second. Right now, I'm speaking to my young gentlemen who still have that problem. And you're probably not talking to women. And the thing is, they're human, man. They're girls. They're human, just like us. I'll tell you that connection and speaking to a woman and a girl will give you a sense of joy that you won't get by watching pornography. And if you're young, you're probably scared. You're probably insecure. You're probably antisocial, and you're scared of girls. I know I was when I was young. I think everyone was, man. I think every angsty teenager boy is the same, and then we simply build confidence as we go, right? It just doesn't happen over time. We build it as we go. As we become men, we become more confident, and we become better people. We become better humans, and so it changes as we develop ourselves, right? But if you're young, let go of pornography. And if you're really, really going through it, like you have a lot of testosterone, hey, go run, Go work out. And I promise you, that'll help you get rid of all that energy. Use that energy towards being productive, right? Because it's life force. And I'd say speak to as many girls as you can. Like, just conversate. You don't have to speak to them like you're trying to get their number. Like, practice integrating yourself into society. If you're at school, just say hi. You know, if a girl's walking by, just be like, hey. She'll probably look at you weird, like, hi. And then you can hit her with, I don't know you, you don't know me. I saw you walking. You're pretty as heck. I'm Thompson. Nice to meet you. Can I walk you to class? Or maybe just halfway, just in case you get tired of me, or I start knowing you. You know. So how about I just do halfway, and maybe tomorrow I could take you all the way, right? And then she'll probably laugh, and then now you can have a friend, right? It's about building relationships, gentlemen. And I know, like, you're young. All you care about is how you look and social media and impressing the girls. I get it. Like, trust me, I get it, man. Almost every young kid, man. Well, it sure was the case for me, right? And so for me to give you advice on to focus on yourself right now, it'd be tough. And so I won't tell you that. If you're young, if you're still in high school, I'm gonna say if you're 18 and under and you're still in school, do exactly what you're doing. I'm not gonna be one of those people that make fun of you for being young. I encourage the young to stay as young as they can until life screws them up and shows you the reality. You're gonna have to deal with the harsh realities of the world soon. And I guarantee you, you'll make it. You'll be just fine. You got it. But there's no need for you to grow up just yet. Stay young, man. Obsess over the girls, you know. Care about what you want to wear. Do that. But hey, if you're sick of it, then this is where I'll get into a different piece of advice, right? So now let's just say you're not sick of it and you don't want to change, and this is all you know. Stay that way. But hey, do yourself a favor, man. Just don't consume pornography. Don't play with yourself. And hey, talk to girls, man. And if you're gonna be intimate and you don't want to be celibate, then hey, make sure instead of being intimate with your damn right hand, be intimate with a girl, a woman. Yeah. Now, let's say you're young and your eyes have been opened and you're awakened and you want more for life. Okay, now, this is for all my rare young gentlemen that is 16, 17 and they're ambitious and you just want something else. Still, same principles apply. Refrain from freaking playing with yourself and watching pornography. Plus, you're probably too consumed with trying to make it in life to where you're always busy and so you don't even have time to do that. Pick up a skill, man. Grind, run. Just get in extremely good athletic shape. Like, literally just be a monster. Be strong, be fast, be athletic. Take all that power you have and put it towards being productive. You're young. You can even learn to pick up a skill. Go pick up a job if you're young. A sales job, man. Or maybe just a fast food job to occupy your time and get some money in so that you can just do this and do that. You're young after all. You're young and you have time and you have no skills. So it's not going to be easy. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say, oh, you're going to make it. Nah, man, you don't have skills, but you do have time, and you're an angsty teenager with time. So use it, man. Use your time. Go apply for jobs. You're gonna be nervous, right? But talk to people. You probably don't have good social skills. Eye contact probably makes you uncomfortable. It's okay. You'll develop it as the years go by. Trust me. Occupy your time. Read. Get into reading, man. You know, you can get into self-development now, self-discovery now. All these self-help books. Personally, I read them. Power of Positive Thinking and Affirmations and Gratitude. I started there too. You know, I started my journey when I was 18. Man. And so I did all the beginner entry stuff. Mindset work, gratitude, journaling, meditation, aligning your chakras. You know, affirmations, vision board. I did all of it, man. And it worked for me at the time because I believed it. Things will work for you so long as you believe they work. So if you believe it works, then it'll work for you. If you don't believe it works, then it's not going to work for you. All right. But you're young, and so I say that the ability to enter a framework where it's mainly positive, I'd say it's good. It's a skill. I'm not saying you have to be reliant on your positive mindset. Like days where things are negative and things hit the fan, don't be relying on it, because if you are and things hit the fan and you can't be positive, then you're gonna crumble and fall on your knees. But you need to develop the strength to be able to enter that framework of positive thinking, no matter what, because it'll help you get through life. Right? Don't be relying on it. Be action oriented. But you can read books, man. I'll recommend you a lot, especially if you're young. Learn about the game of money, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, right? Interview with the Devil by Napoleon Hill. That's a great read, you know? You can start with books like that. And then you can just build your mindset slowly. Plus, you're young. You have time, man. You have time to figure out what you want to do. And through this, you'll learn how to think. And then you'll be able to figure out what you want to do in the next year or two, right? And so, that's what we're going to talk about next. Well, you're young. You're 18, you're just graduating high school. Well, what should I do? Don't listen to the world. Go to school, do this. You're going to ask yourself some of these questions. It'll help you figure it out. Don't listen to your parents talking about you should go to school. I have people in my life who completely believe in school. You know why? Because it's what worked for them. And so they think that'll work. It's what's going to work for everybody. Hey, if school works for you and you want to go to school, good. But if you have a bad feeling about school, don't go. People say you need school to become social and build your social skills and see the world through different lenses, and you can meet people from all parts of the world. Dude, you can do that by walking outside. You don't need to go to school. People think go to school, learn the skills, become successful. I say become successful, have the time, go to school, and live life. If anything, I do it backwards. I'm focused on success first, so that if I'm going to school, I'm not stressed. I'm like, this is just for fun. As opposed to if you're not successful and you're you're 50K down in student debt, now you're all stressed at school trying to become successful. I'll become successful first, and if I ever do want to go back to school, I'll do it. It'll be straight fun. No stress, because I have a couple million in the bank account just sitting. And so I'm doing my homework. I'm telling, hey, how you doing? And they're stressed out. Student debt, and I'm up in the millions. I'm just at school to keep learning. That's how I would do it. You don't have to do what I do. You do what you think you want to do. So here's my advice. At 18, if you don't know what direction you want to go, ask yourself this. If money and fame were not an object, what is success to me? Is it a dollar amount? Is it how many people respect me and give me my flowers? Is it how famous I am? Or is it doing whatever you want with your time? Is it being fulfilled? Is it just the pursuit of happiness? Is it accomplishing and building things? Ask yourself that. If money and fame were not an object, how can I define success? Now it's not a dollar amount. Now it's not how much people know me. Now it's not how famous I am. So what is success to me? And so you'll have to think on that. That's one question. The next question is, if I knew I wasn't going to get negatively judged or ridiculed by the world, what would I do? What risks would I take? Because a lot of us, we're scared to do things, not necessarily because we're afraid of failure. We're kind of embarrassed that people are going to know we failed, right? And so that's why we kind of don't want to do things. And if we do something, it's in silence. So if we fail, we fail in private. I believe in failing in public. It teaches you humility. I always voice my failures. I have people in my life that will never voice their failures because they're too prideful and they're so afraid of judgment. And they think that they're going to die the moment the world sees them as a failure. I don't care. Because I want to let you know I'm human. And I failed. And here, let me give you a little context, just to show you that I practice what I preach. I was working for a company that was really successful, man. Brother Cosmetics, right? And I helped the company grow. And along the line, I made a bad call somewhere. It was my fault. I made a bad call somewhere that resulted in me taking an L. I ended up with the loss, you know? And it was my call. It wasn't the company's fault. It wasn't the CEO's fault, the founder's fault. It wasn't the team's fault. It was my fault. And I took the L. And the company helped me build my platform. And it's strange because, like, you see my followers on Instagram, and it's only 72,000, but it's like you associate that with success. I'm in a position in my life now where I make money off day trading, but I have to start fresh. You know, I was into the business space, but I made a bad call, and then I ended up with nothing. Negative, actually, and it was all my fault. I made the wrong call somewhere. So now I'm starting fresh, dude. I'm back working at a gym. Sales, right back to my roots, right? But I still make this content because, if anything, this is me tracking my story. Like, I'm gonna revisit this one day, you know? So you could think I'm this hyper successful dude, but I've been a failure my whole life. I made bad calls the whole life. I've sacrificed myself for people my whole life, and they're the same people who now I truly see that they wouldn't do the same for me, even though I wanted to believe they would in the past. So I failed. Went from seeing $10,000 made in a single day in about 7 hours to humbling myself. Now I got to go back to minimum wage, $16 an hour. Went from closing high ticket deals, anywhere from $2,000 to $50,000 deals with 10% commission, to now I'm back at a gym closing $34 memberships and I'll make $3 commission. I have to humble myself, man. It's tough. Seeing that much money and seeing what's possible in this world, dude. Like, I remember, like, I got us up to 78K, and it was in the span of 2 weeks. 2 weeks, 78,000. And then now I'm gonna be working a minimum wage job, and I'll be making about 2,000 a month after taxes, right? So I failed, man. I've made wrong decisions in my life, and I made some bad calls. And I'm not gonna lie to you, because I believe in honesty. And I've learned lessons I can teach despite my failures, because I'm still on the road to success, and I hope that you'll follow me and you don't see me as a fraud. Why should I listen to you? You're not successful. Well, I'm not gonna lie, like, I was in a position to be, but things just don't go your way, no matter how much you want them to. And I practice what I preach. It's my fault. It's no one else's fault. It's always been mine. I made a bad call somewhere and ended up here. You know, still good though, still breathing, right? So ask yourself these questions, young gentlemen. What would you do what's success if money and fame were no object? If you weren't gonna get ridiculed or judged, what would you do? What risks would you take? If there's one thing, this is another good question. If there's one thing you could do for the rest of your life, what would it be? And you're not gonna get paid $1, but you're gonna do it every day, and you're forced to do it every day. But what would it be? You know? And then when you ask yourself these questions, like, it creates a foundation. It can be working out. And so now you think, okay, I love working out. I'm kind of good at working out. Well, how can I make money off working out? Right? The idea is you practice something and you get good at something so that you can teach others, and then while you teach others, you can benefit from teaching others, because they want to give you money in exchange for your value so that they can grow and you can grow. That's the point, right? If you haven't learned anything, if you haven't perfected a skill, if you haven't done anything, it's hard to teach, right? And so I was, like I said, like, I'm back at a minimum wage job, and now I have to freaking start from scratch. And you're like, why should we listen to you? Well, it's because I was in a position where, like, I saw 78K in 2 weeks, and I was the one that carried. I closed high ticket deals. I closed a $50,000 deal. Yeah, that's a high ticket, man. I got our products distributed to well over 15 stores, my time being there. You know, I would do the cold calls. I would do the driving. I would do the meetups. I would do the presentation. I would do everything. I would close the $10,000 deals, the $15,000 deals, the $20,000 deals, the $25,000 deals. It was me, man. I would do the 35-hour shifts all alone. I would sleep at the warehouse. I did this, and it's my fault that things didn't go my way. But I believe things happen for a reason. And so let me tell you guys a little story. There's this person who got bullied in high school, and basically he became ultra successful, and his bully reached out to him one day and said, hey man, I see you're doing it big. Just want to let you know that I have a daughter, and we're trying to teach her how not to be in school and how to be a good person. And I can't help but think about all the times I bullied you, and just want to say sorry, man. And the dude reached back out. He was like, hey man, thanks for reaching out. If I had to get bullied in high school by you, and I had to feel that pain, and then now you have to feel the regret just so that your daughter can have a better life, I'd say it was all worth it. And so that's beautiful, right? And so that's the framework I adopt with life. So it's like, if I had to see that much money made in that business, and if I had to be the one that carried that business for that certain amount of time, and if I had to suffer so that I can learn those things, so that I can develop and become a different man, so that I can teach you guys, and then so I can have a humble start, so that I can eliminate my pride and not be a prideful fool and just walk with some type of humility, I'd say it was all worth it. Because I'm not one of those people that are going to try to lie to you like, hey, I make this a month and I'm ultra successful. No, I was. I'm not going to lie. I was. Because the way we were going, I would have been in the millions by the end of this year. But things just don't happen. Things don't work out in your favor, right? But it's your fault. So, young gentlemen, this path of discovery is going to be tough. It's not going to happen in a year. It's not going to happen in 2 years. It's going to take a lot of time. And you have to be willing to play the long game. Yeah, in the short term, you're going to have to be judged and ridiculed. People are going to call you a failure, a loser, boom. Yeah, they're going to be right. But the 99% right and 100% wrong. Because what that means is 99% of the time, yeah, you are a failure. Yes, you are a loser. Yes, you are this and you are this. But the one day that you make it, they're 100% wrong. And so you got to keep hustling through and smile, man. Smile. And it's so hard, I know. And you want to break down and you want to cry and you want to give up and you want to blame this person and you want to blame this person. But you can't, because it's your fault. One, my fault, yes. Two, what can I do? Right now, you're in a stage, if you're just graduating high school now, or you're 16, 17, and you just want more for your life, and you're really ambitious, and you don't care about what everyone else wants. You don't want to party, and you just want to focus. If you're ready, if you're in that phase, it doesn't matter how old you are at this point, but it's a phase, then you have to understand you're going to enter a lonely chapter where nobody is going to understand you. No one's going to care about you. No one is going to give a damn. You're not going to be invited to anything. People are going to make fun of you for starting. They're going to say, what are you doing? Oh, you're trying something new. I get it. Yeah. Well, hey, when you're done trying something new, just go back to how we once knew you. People say you changed because they don't know how to say you've grown, because they've seen so little of it. And so you have to understand that it's not their fault. In their life, they haven't grown. In their life, the people that they surround themselves with haven't grown. They've been the same exact person. They've been a loop. I use some really strong words because it's passion, because I've been a loser, and so I know how it feels. But they haven't changed. They're still losers. They still have these frameworks that have not changed. They've been the same exact person for 5+ years, which is nothing to brag about. Trust me. The point of life is to grow, not to stay the same. If you're staying the same, you're stagnant, you're not progressing, which means you're nothing, because even wild animals progress and grow. So if you're not progressing and growing, you've been the same person, it's nothing to brag about. People are going to say you've changed, man, but it's because they don't know how to say you've grown. They've seen so little of it. They've seen so little growth in their life. You know, family and loved ones, like, they haven't seen those people grow. Like, their family hasn't grown, their circle hasn't grown, their circumstances hasn't grown, their mindset hasn't changed. And especially if you stay in the same city and you become a whole nother human, like, you're going to get judged and ridiculed. Good. That's an indication that you're on the right path. I guarantee you, if you get hate, if you get ridiculed, and they're like, dude, why are you so different? You switched up. It's an indication that you're on a good path. And if you're lonely and you're not successful enough to fit in with a new group, but you know you're better than everybody else. Yeah, it may sound arrogant to say, but look, if you've mentally scaled past everybody and you just are better than everybody and you know it, but you're not good enough, you have to enter the state of humility. It's called the lonely phase, where you're all alone. You have nobody. So it's straight hustle. It's agonizing pain. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of soul sucking power and strength just to push through every day. And it's this anger that you have that is like, I can't wait to show you guys, which is where you have to gain control, because there's a lot of anger and pain that's going to fuel you, right? I can't wait to prove you wrong. But you have to grab that right there and say, no, everything I'm doing is not to prove Bob wrong or Dylan wrong or Jessica wrong or Jesse wrong. No, it's so that you can keep a promise to yourself. And you have to be humble. The past 2 years have been the worst 2 years of my life. And I've learned so much because I've been able to conquer the one demon that a lot of men don't have the ability to, which is pride. I conquered that demon. Let me give you guys a little example. When I was working at this business, it was operated by one of my friends. So it was literally just me and him, right? And I was a hard guy to be around because I was always angry. But the truth is, I produced, and so he tolerated me. Because what business owner won't tolerate a salesperson that's racking in that much money for the company? So he tolerated me. And I was pissing everyone off because of my attitude, because I was angry. I just was focused. And you know what's funny? When my mental stability declined and I wasn't angry and I was kind of peaceful and I became sad and I stopped producing, he was like, I wish I missed the old you. And that shows that, like, you only really gave a damn so long as I produced. And if I didn't produce, you were easy to discard me. And it's okay, because it was my fault. I should have been a better human, right? But I remember a time where we all gathered at the location or at the warehouse just to have a good night, right? It was a few people. And some people kind of dropped food. And I was, at the time, like, I was everything, man. Like, I cleaned and I did everything. Like, I did everything. Like, literally, I did everything. And these people, I remember them spilling food on purpose or on accident, whatever it was. And they were going to sweep it up. And I had a woman at the time, and I brought my woman there. And they spilled the food, and they said, oh, don't worry, let Thompson clean that. It's his job. And it was so degrading, man, because it's like, I'm working for my friend. My friend is paying me. I listen to my friend. I'm obeying my friend. I'm not valued how much I should be, even though I'm literally the reason the company was growing at the time. Or just maintaining whatever the hell it was. And plus my woman was there too. So it's like, yeah, don't clean it up. That's Thompson's job. He'll do it, right? And it really hurt, man. And I hold nothing towards that person or those people, no envy, nothing. But the truth is, like, I had to go through that to be able to be as humble as I am now, to speak in front of you and show you that, hey, I've been a messed up dude. I've been flawed, and I've been in situations where I had to be humble. And I promise you that pride is the worst thing in the world, man. I've been a prideful man, and I've hurt people. I've been a prideful man. I didn't even know myself. And I've been a humble man, and I've understood people. And I've been a humble man, and I had a better heart. My heart was a lot better. And so you have to regain control the moment you're like, oh, I'm going to prove you wrong. Like, no one gives a damn. Like, truly, no one gives a damn. Like, let's say there's somebody that doesn't like me, and they just want to become successful to prove me wrong. And in 5 years' time, they're finally successful, and they just think of me, and one day they come up to me and they're like, I made it, bro. You know, fuck you. I'll kind of look at them and I'll laugh, and I'll be like, for the past 5 years, I was on your head 24/7, huh? That means you're my bitch. You know, like, seriously. And so you have to regain control of that, because if you're trying to prove your city wrong, you're trying to prove your family wrong, you are your family's bitch. You are your environment's bitch. You are this person's bitch. They own you because you're doing everything just to prove them wrong. Don't do that. Do everything to keep a promise to yourself. You owe it to yourself to see it through. You don't owe it to yourself to prove Bob wrong or Dylan wrong. You don't owe it to yourself to show these people how much better you are than them. No, you owe it to yourself to see it through and just become the best version of yourself. And don't try to prove people wrong and focus on proving people wrong, getting external validation, getting all the respect. Trust me, you don't want to be like that. I've been there. I've done that. It's not fun. It's a pitiful existence. You become a fraud. You're a liar. You just try to show the world the best parts of you, kind of like social media. You just show the world the best parts of you, never the most honest parts. And so you become a brutally deceptive liar. And you have this creeping fear of insecurity that never leaves, because you never want to let the world know you fail. You rather fail in private. Win in private. Fail in public. People say, fail in private. Show the world your victory. Sure, you can do that. Or you can fail in public, show the world your humility, and never announce your wins. I choose to be that way, at least. I don't want to announce my wins, but I will show you all my failures to let you know you're not alone, because we all fail. And I'll be honest enough to let you know all my failures, because I don't need your validation. I worked pretty hard, and I'm still working hard on becoming a better man. And I've worked hard to build this man now. And so I know who I am to a degree. And I know my core. And I know myself. And I know what I believe. And I know what I stand for. And I know what I would do, and I know what I wouldn't do. And so external validation means nothing to me. People's respect means nothing to me. I just want to look in the mirror and not see a big loser. That's all. So if you're young and you're just chasing external validation and all this stuff, please gain control of it. You have to. Because if you can gain control of it, that means everything you do is for yourself. It's strength. You are the source now. You are the power. Your city, this person, that person, this person, that person, this circumstance, that, no, they don't rule you. You dictate, and you play. You play the game, and you call the shots. Now, for all my gentlemen that are older, I know I'm 24. You probably don't want to listen to some 24-year-old kid give you advice on life. But if you're older, I'd highly recommend you to embark on the journey of self-discovery, especially if you're older. Don't be fooled by what the world says a man is, which is this alpha male who drives a Lamborghini and has a bunch of women and money and muscles. And gentlemen, you grow yourself in 4 ways, or in 3 ways, and it's what you do. This is your warrior. What you think, we'll call it your magician, and what you feel, we'll call it your lover. And if you can harness the power of all these 3 archetypes, and you can really scale and grow and make peace with the shadow side of it, you become the king. A king is not one who sits on the high throne and says, you do this, you do this, you do this. You follow my rules, I'm a king. No, that's not a king. That's a little baby infant who's been spoon-fed his whole life. A king is one who sits on the high throne and says, what the hell can I do for you? Like, I'm given this power. What the heck can I do for you? What can I do for you, my nation? I serve you. My nation, you don't serve me, I serve you. What can I do for you? That's what a king is. A lover isn't one that's addicted to pornography and always lusting after women. A truly developed lover, a man that's in tune with his emotion, is one that has a connectivity to all things, to all humans, to all living organisms. And he seeks a profound love, not because he seeks to display his dominance by means of exerting his phallus into a woman, no, but he seeks a divine love, a love that conquers, a love that's honorable. And then a truly intelligent man is not a man who thinks he's a know-it-all and keeps secrets from people. The best version of a man that thinks is one who obtains knowledge and wisdom about the secrets of the cosmos and learns this and learns that and uses that to help guide others and to extend that information to others, instead of someone who's acting like a dummy even though he's so smart. You know, you guys have those people, they call it the dummy. It's the one who knows a lot but acts like a fool in front of everybody because he just doesn't want anyone to know how genius he truly is. Like that's a boy. That's called boy psychology. Man psychology is one who's intelligent. He will show the world how intelligent he is, not because he wants to, but because his intelligence naturally just garners attention. But beyond that, he doesn't use his intelligence to gain respect, but he uses intelligence to try to teach and help the next line of men, young men coming up. That's the thinker. And then finally, we have the warrior. And the warrior isn't this hyper-aggressive individual, hyper-aggressive man that just brutally is so destructive and screw you, screw you, screw you, I'm a beast. No, that's animalistic, that's carnal, that's primal, and that's a caveman with no mind. You're a mindless, aggressive little boy. You're an infant. A true warrior is one who has the sharpest sword, but keeps it sheathed. A true warrior is one who has the ability to annihilate nations within a snap of a finger, but he's so scared of himself that he's like, no, I will not allow that animal to come out. I will only allow that animal to come out in times of danger, where I must protect my own. A true warrior does not want to show the world how dangerous he is because he does not enjoy danger, because truthfully, peace is what gives the samurai calmness, and it gives the samurai the state of mind of, I am tranquil. It's not a hyper-aggressive, big macho. No, that's a little boy, infant. You see a lot of them. You see them in boxers. You see them in a lot of fighters. They're these testosterone pumped, aggressive men who say, I'm better than you. I will screw you up. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, because that's all you freaking have. Sure, that's all you have. Until one day you meet a bigger, badder wolf who's calmer than you, nicer than you, and he will squabble you to the ground. So be that. Be the humble wolf that has been through thousands and thousands of battles, that isn't afraid of confrontation, that fears not, that is courageous, that is brave, that is deadly and dangerous, but the world will never know. And you will be the one to humble these hyper-aggressive, animalistic little boys one day. That's a true warrior. Calmness and restraint is strength. If you get angered and you want to punch someone, that is not restraint, that's weakness, because you have no ability to even control your emotions. And so you're like a little baby infant who feels something and starts crying based on the emotion. So again, if you want to learn more about that, it's a book I always recommend. It's King, Warrior, Magician, Lover by Robert Moore. Respectable book, man. Truly a book that changed my life and really opened my eyes to how insecure and inferior I was as a man. I thought a man was only this and this and this, but then that book opened my eyes to, wow, I'm not even a fraction of what a truly developed man is. So look into that for all my older gentlemen, because you owe it to yourself to develop yourself in these areas for your family one day, for your wife. Because the last thing you need is to be this emotionally disconnected, hyper-aggressive man who does not even know himself, that's extremely prideful and isn't in tune with his emotions, and he sits on the high throne thinking, what the hell can you guys do for me? I'm a king. You serve me. I'm a beast. No, you don't need that, man. That's not the type of man that's going to raise a good father or raise a good daughter or son or take care of his wife. It's a little boy. So older gentlemen, be calm and steady. You're wise, man. You've lived life, and so you have experience and you have wisdom. And don't belittle the youth. Encourage them to stay young and give them guidance with love, not from a place of superiority, like I'm better than you, listen to me. No, say, hey, I care for you. So if you care to listen, I would love to speak. But then understand the subject you're listening. Understand the subject that you're speaking to, not always want the subject to listen, understand. Instead of giving unsolicited advice, ask about this person's life. And so you can help them navigate because life is tough. And older men, you owe it to the next line of young men coming up to give guidance and not ridicule and judge and to show your true colors. The more authentic you become, the more trustworthy you are. The more fraudulent the more you try to lie, the less people trust you. Young gentlemen, let go of pornography. Stop pleasing yourself. Talk to girls. Actually, talk to real human girls. Let go of the need for external validation. Get a sales job for crying out loud. Please get a job at a gym. You have no idea how confident you'll become. Trust me, get a sales job. Plus, you're going to work out and you'll be in a good environment. Stack your money. Screw the designer stuff. Black, white, gray t-shirts. Over and over and over. Same pair of shorts. Over and over and over. And transform your life. You got this, seriously. And you're going to win. But young gentlemen, you're on a good path, okay? But you need to slowly understand yourself. And the only way to understand yourself is knowing how to think. And if you don't know how to think, it's because the system hasn't taught you how to think. They taught you what to think. If you want to learn how to think, you have to start reading some good books, man. I made a video on my YouTube it's 5 books that changed my life. And I did some honorable mentions. Visit that video. I read a lot, man. And so check those books that I said, that I recommended. They'll help. Don't be so fed up with consuming content and trying to show the world how successful and how good your life is. Be humble. Be open and show the world how broken you are, because there's more broken people than people that are successful. And you can help people that are broken feel less alone, and you can help them become better, as opposed to you being hyper successful and then now you present an opportunity for broken people to get even more depressed because they're like, wow, I'm not like him. Oh my gosh, I'm so sad. It's your life. You call the shots. No external validation. Walk with humility. And if anything in your life goes wrong, you take the blame finger, you point it inwards, and you freaking scale to the sky. You understand me?